So here are... Hey everyone, Paul Richmond here. Let's talk about art and money. So I was asked to make this video for the Emerging Artists of Monterey group, which is this awesome organization here in Monterey. The questions that they asked me to answer are really relevant to so many emerging artists all over. Number one, how do you price your work as an artist, especially when you're first starting out? How do you know what your artwork is worth? And then the second question, how do you know when it's wise to invest in yourself? I don't have all the answers, I'll tell you that right up front. I can tell you what I've done and what I've done wrong, and when I have been lucky enough to do something that worked for me. I don't like to give advice necessarily. I do like to talk, obviously, but I don't like to tell people what to do because, you know, the way my career has gone so far, it's kind of been a very meandering, crazy thing that didn't follow any particular set of rules. But I have gotten, you know, good inspiration from other people and input, and so just kind of think of this as some ideas to consider. And I'll tell you right off the bat that I am going to make a playlist of videos here on YouTube that includes lots of videos from other artists addressing the same issue. So you can listen to what I have to say, and then I'll put the link to that playlist down in the description so that you can go and listen to a whole bunch of other smart people, and then maybe you can sort of piece together your own plan based on absorbing all of that. First of all, just for anybody who might have doubts about this, your work has value. Whether you are just starting out or you've been at this a long time, if you have put your creative energy, your talent, your time into making something, it has value. There are a lot of people who think they have to reach this certain plateau in their career before they should think about, you know, selling their work. You know, you want to be satisfied with the piece. You don't want to sell something that you think is terrible. But the thing about being an artist is you always are learning and growing. And you know, you're always going to look back on what you made a year or two ago and be further along, hopefully. So you're never going to reach that magical point where you're perfect. So you might as well start selling stuff now if you can, even if you just have a few things, because if there are people who love it and connect with it, then that's awesome. So here are some tips for figuring out how to price your work. First of all, I would go online and look at work by other artists that is similar to yours and see what they're selling for. You're not going to want to pick like the multi-million-dollar selling artists who have had long, you know, prestigious careers to start with, because, you know, unless that's where you are, then if you are, you're probably not watching this video and asking this question because you already know. So chances are you are more on the emerging side of the scale. So don't compare your work necessarily to someone who has been at it a super long time and is making tons of money. That's obviously where you want to end up, hopefully, but probably not where you want to start. Etsy's a really good place to look. A lot of emerging artists put their work on there. It's easy to sort by category. Think about not only the medium and, you know, size, but also the subject matter. Maybe figurative art will have a sort of a different price range than like abstract art or landscape art or whatever. You know, and again, you're going to see a wide range, so this isn't going to necessarily tell you exactly what to do, but it does give you kind of a starting point. You'll have an idea of what other people who make work like yours are selling it for. Another suggestion when it comes to pricing, and this was something that the gallery owner of the very first gallery that I ever was represented by shared with me, and it was something I hadn't really thought about, but it makes a whole lot of sense. You don't want to sell yourself short, obviously. You know, you want to be compensated fairly for the time, the materials, and also just the work itself that you've made. But you also don't want to start out going too far in the opposite direction, too high of a price, because number one, it will scare off collectors, potential collectors who might discover your work and follow your career over a long period of time and buy lots more. And secondly, because you want your work to always go up in value. As you sell a few pieces, the prices go up a little bit. Sell a few more, they go up a little more. You never want to have to go back down because you realize that you were charging too much and you're like, oh shit, nobody's buying this, so I've got to lower the prices now. You don't want to do that, and the reason is because art collectors look at work as an investment. So it's not taking advantage of them in any way to gradually increase your prices over time. You're doing what it is they would hope you would do, because that means that the work that they bought from you 3 or 4 years ago is now worth more, because the other comparable pieces that you're selling now are higher price. And then the last thing I always tell people who ask me this question is, when you look at that piece that you have poured your heart and soul into, is there an amount of money that you can think of that would justify never being able to have that piece in your hands or on your wall again? Because once you sell it, it's gone. Don't sell it for an amount that you think you might regret. And don't let anybody else really, dictate to you what that amount is, because that comes from you. There are some pieces that I make that there's no amount. So I keep them, and you should do that too. Because once a painting's gone, it is gone. Now, a lot of my other work, for me, the real exciting part is the process. So I am happy to be able to sell that piece to someone who's going to appreciate it, so that I have room to start on something else. Limited edition prints have also been a great way for me to not only keep a good quality image of the artwork for myself, but to share it with a lot of people who maybe can't afford to buy the original painting. So limited edition prints are also a really great thing that you should look into. Even if you just have a few pieces, even if you're just starting out, you might as well kind of get in the practice of figuring out how to do that. The way that I've done it, every artist might have a little different tip for you, but I am a little lazy. I like to paint. I don't want to have to spend my time doing a lot of the other work involved with having prints made. So I have always worked with really awesome print studios / photographers, and most towns have people who will provide the service. If you just Google Giclée prints or limited edition prints, studio maybe, and then plus the name of your city. Go talk to the people, look at samples of their work, but the photographers that I've worked with in the past and am currently working with right now, I'm with Carmel Fine Art Printing and Reproduction. For those of you who are a part of the Emerging Artists of Monterey group, that could be a great resource for you to check out. They will take your piece, when it's finished and dry, usually. Sometimes I take mine over a little too soon, but he knows me, so he's careful. Anyway, take your piece over there and they will photograph it for you professionally, and it's such a high quality image, super high res, captures every detail painstakingly, color corrects it, it looks just like the painting. It's important to find somebody who has that skill set, and if you're an awesome photographer and you can do that yourself, then you can skip that part. It's a great way to just give people more options. And I offer prints in 3 different sizes: small, medium, and large. So there's even sort of like price range within that. And then going along the lines of pricing, since that was the original question and I tend to go all over the place, one thing that I do too is like a limited edition set means that there's a number, and once you've sold that many, then you're done. My small and mediums are editions of 200, and then the large is 100. And so as it gets close to the end of a set, as I've either sold almost 200 of the small or 100 of the large, then I increase the prices of those final few, like every 5 prints. So once you get up to maybe like of the 100 set, once I've sold 80 of them, then between 80 and 85 the price goes up a little. Between 86 and 90 it goes up a little bit more, and that again increases the value of that whole series. So it's a good thing for you, but it's also a good thing for people who appreciate and collect your work. Okay, question number 2 was, how do you invest in yourself? What are some good things you can do? What are some not good things you can do? The number 1 not good thing to do is to join a vanity gallery. And I try to tell everybody this as many times as I can, because I just hate people who prey on emerging artists. So a vanity gallery, I guess I should tell you what I'm talking about. A vanity gallery is a gallery that makes you pay to display your artwork there. A good gallery will not do this. The reason that some galleries do it is because it's an easy way for them to make money, and they don't have to worry about doing the real work that a professional gallery does, which is courting all of the collectors and really promoting and making the money from actually selling the work. If they're getting the money from the artists, they don't have to worry about anything. Some of these vanity galleries charge a shit ton of money, and it's terrible. And I know some young artists who have done it. People who could not even begin to afford it, but they offer payment plans and all kinds of stuff. So as soon as you hear, I'm a gallery, I love your work, and they always lay it on really thick too, like, you're just so amazing. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Do not pay them to display your work. There are some exceptions. The difference between a vanity gallery and then some galleries or organizations that do calls for entry that will have a fee to apply, that's a little different. Some of those are very legit. Do your research. Don't just think, oh, here's the answer to my prayers, they love me, here's my life savings and everything I'm going to make for the rest of my life. Don't do that. That would be on the bad side. Good things to invest in are, well, food. We'll start at the beginning. Food, cute clothes if you want. I just got this new jacket. I love the bling. You know, you got to treat yourself sometimes. If you're working hard, get some things that you like and that you need. When you make money from your art, it is really good to invest that in yourself and in your career. Buy, you know, your art supplies out of that money, buy everything that you need to create your work, and then start looking into some creative ways of promoting yourself. There are a lot of things that you can do that don't cost anything, you know, like social media, maintaining a mailing list. Now, you could pay for that too, and as you advance, that's a really great thing to do. Whenever somebody buys one of your pieces, you know, contacts you, express an interest, you can have a sign-up link on your website. It is, I think, very, very worth it to, if you don't want to have to deal with all that, you know, keeping track of all that yourself, to pay the monthly fee to let one of the, you know, mail services do that for you, because you can just keep track of everybody in there and update them all the time. You can pay for promoted posts on different social media sites. That's also good if you know, have something new that you want to promote. Always kind of trying to direct people back to your website. And speaking of the website, that is a really good thing to invest in, because everybody looks online now. You know, even when they go into a gallery, I've had so many gallery owners tell me this. They'll be collectors, you know, in a gallery, and they'll see a painting of mine that they like, and they look at my name, and immediately they're on their phone Googling because they want to know who I am and more about me and all that. If you have a good web presence, that can make a huge difference. Even when I first started out, that was one of the first things I did. I had no idea how to make a website. I had a friend of mine, we did a little trade. He made this awesome website for me. At the time, you know, it became outdated in a few years, and then I had to do a different one. It made a difference. You can make yourself seem much more professional than maybe you even are. You know, you might be doing these paintings in the corner of your kitchen right now, but you can make a website that looks like you're ready for your solo show at the MoMA. The internet really levels the playing field, which is awesome. You know, we all have access to the same people now, and through keywords and, you know, search engine optimization, which, if you don't know what that is, look it up. That's really important too. Another awesome way to invest in yourself that doesn't include necessarily money, but still making a contribution in a sense, is to donate artwork to charitable causes and events if you have done your research and you know that it's number one, a worthy cause, and that they value the artist. There's all kinds of things out there, so, you know, always look into it and make sure. For example, the Emerging Artists Alliance of Monterey group that I mentioned at the beginning of the video just had a wonderful fundraiser, I think it was last month, that was raising funds for the Monterey Rape Crisis Center, and they asked artists to donate work, and this was the piece that I made for it. And they had this great event where people auctioned off, you know, the work. You could get it through raffle, you know, meet other artists, network, connect with people in your community. Those kinds of things can be great, you know, networking opportunities for you, in addition to just being able to do something really positive with your work. And since we are talking about money, you always want to ask for a letter that indicates that you've made this donation from the organization and the value of the work, because that is then a tax write-off for you. And then the last thing that I would suggest that you invest in, like, immediately, is this book called How to Survive and Prosper as an Artist: Selling Yourself Without Selling Your Soul. You can get it for pretty cheap on Amazon. It is an incredible resource. It really teaches you a lot of the things that they might not have covered in art school, or if you didn't go to art school, I mean, you might not know this stuff. Going to art school, by the way, is not a requirement. You can do it. You could do all of these things no matter what your background is if you are willing to put in the work. But pick up this book, and I actually read the book shortly after I graduated, and it was so helpful to me. I went through it with, a highlighter and made notes, and I really tried to do a lot of the things that she recommended. She right off the bat says you need to take yourself seriously, believe in what you're doing, and ditch the backup plan, because it's not going to be easy. And if you have a backup plan, there's going to be a point when you decide to take that. But if you believe in yourself and treat your career just like you would any other business, if you take it seriously and really work on, promoting yourself and doing the marketing work, in addition to making awesome art, of course, then there's no limit to what you can accomplish. I hope this video has been helpful. If you have some other good tips from your own experiences, leave them down in the comments and let us know. And while you're down there, I would certainly love it if you would give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, because I post new stuff all the time. Sometimes chats like this, sometimes videos of my artwork, sometimes just goofy, ridiculous things with friends. You never know what you're going to get, but there's always going to be something, and I'd love to have you guys come back and hang out with me again. So until next time, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.